Today we're going to go over how to leather cover a steering wheel.
You will need to know two measurements before choosing the correct leather wheel rim cover: the diameter of your wheel and the circumference of the rim. To determine your wheel diameter, go ahead and measure across the wheel. This one right here is 32 inches. You want to measure to the outside of the rim. And to measure the circumference of the rim, you can use anything flexible. Wrap it around the rim and then measure the length of that flexible object. With these two measurements, you can determine what kit is correct for your wheel. Within each kit, we have everything you need: the leather, twine, which also comes with a needle, double-sided tape, and also the directions. You need a tape measure, a pair of scissors, and some sort of marking device. A sailmaker's palm is also optional. If you select a comfort grip kit, everything is the same as the other kit, but it will also come with the comfort grip foam. Foam provides a little extra cushiony grip for your fingers, with grooves all down the side. And it also comes with an adhesive backing.
In terms of the space to go ahead and do this, we wouldn't recommend you do it while the wheel's right on the boat. It's going to be a little too difficult. So indoors is often really nice, or down below. If you can get a flat table surface such as this, it's fairly easy. We have known some people to hang it from the ceiling to work on it, but that's a little bit more work. It swings around, so a nice flat surface is the best way to go. So once you have your wheel all set up in your workshop or your space, you're going to go ahead and take your leather and unwrap it. Now note that we give you way more leather than you actually need, so make sure you don't run out. There's two sides to this leather. There is a leather side, and there's also a suede side. And when you put this leather on, you want to make sure the suede side is what goes on the outside of the wheel. If you do it the other way, you tend to get mildew buildup. This all gives you so much of a softer grip, and it feels a little nicer in your hands as well.
Leather is a natural material, so there may be some blemishes somewhere along the way. It may stretch a little bit differently one way than the other. There may be marks on this side, but I wouldn't worry too much about that, since this side will be facing inwards. Unwrap the leather and wrap it all the way around the wheel. Position it in there and put a little bit of pressure on it, making sure it is even all the way around. I'm going to go ahead and mark the overlap right here. Here we have our original mark. We're going to go 3/8 of an inch further and go ahead and put a second mark. Do this because we are going to stitch the leather together for the full circumference of the wheel to create a loop. Next, we are going to cut the leather and thread the line through those marks. So there we go, it is trimmed to size.
And this part, you can use that for another project if you want to, but it's basically just scrap.
The next thing we are going to do is mark where we're going to stitch the leather together to make the full loop. We're going to make sure we are going to mark this on the leather side and not on the suede side. So we want to go 3/16 of an inch on each side. So we'll go ahead and measure that 3/16 of an inch and put a little mark. Then you can repeat this process on the other end here. So, this is going to be our line for threading through both of them right there. Now that we have that, we're going to go ahead and join up these two halves so we have the suede sides facing each other. Next, take the needle and twine. Go ahead and remove the needle and undo the spool of twine so it is free. Put the twine into the needle and take a couple of feet or so. We are not going to need a lot for this part. Now, tie the end of the twine with a figure-8 knot. Make a loop, cross it around one full time, and go right back through the hole. You have your knot and you can cut off the excess at the end. If your figure-8 knot is too small, you can double the size by doubling over the twine. To make sure you cut off the correct parts, hold the loop with one hand and cut off the shorter tail. After doing this, you can cut the loop off so you only have your double figure-8 knot. Now, with the knot tied at the end and the thread is just looped through the needle like this, we're going to go ahead and take our two ends, meet them together, and start stitching them along that line. At this point, you could use a palm, or in this case, I'm just going to use a glove. Pliers could also work. You have a few different options on this. So, make sure the two ends are mirrored up nicely. Squared here and there, we are going to go ahead and take our needle and start this. You are going to pull it all the way through. What holds the two ends together is an over-under stitch. We will take the needle and go over and under, all the way through. Keep it roughly 3/16 to 1/4 inch spacing on those holes until we get to the end. Make sure you try to keep the leather square while stitching. So we've finished our stitching going across. Now we have to go ahead and finish this off. To finish this stitch, bring the needle back through one more time, doing kind of back stitch on there. Push it all the way through and pull it tight. Then you are going up to this thread right here, and we are going to knot it off. Loop it through before pulling tight. Try to keep the needle on the twine and repeat this again. Stitch it back through again to create a double knot. Now that is nice and secure, so you can go ahead and cut off the excess twine. Turn the leather inside out and you can see your seam. The leather will be stretched all the way around the wheel, but before we do this, the leather will not stay too well. It will slide and move, so we supply double-sided tape. Go ahead and open that up and cut the tape in increments around 3 inches. You're going to put the pieces in line with each spoke. To put the double-sided tape on, you first peel off the white layer so you have the brown layer remaining. Place the sticky side in line with the spoke, smooth it over the rim, and then remove the brown layer. Once you have all the tape on the rim, we need to wrap the leather around the wheel. Every sailor knows you want to mark on your wheel where the rudder is on center. Here, we will use a seam that we create in the beginning to mark this on the wheel. Typically, when the keyway on the hub of the wheel is pointing up on the wheel shaft, that is when your rudder is centered. So the seam on the leather will be lined up with the keyway on the top of the rim. Stretch the leather around the rim and firmly press the leather where the tape has been placed. Once that is done, you want to go around and check that your leather and tape meet. Notice that this one right here is a little uneven, so you can readjust the leather, making sure there's an equal length. The rest of them look pretty good all the way around, so we're ready to start stitching. You're going to want to do one section at a time between spokes. We will start at this spoke and finish on this one.
Once we have our twine, we're going to go ahead and stretch that out about 2 arms lengths, just to make sure we can cover this whole area right here. This should do the trick right there. And then we're going to go ahead and trim it right at that. There we go. That should be plenty to go ahead and get this section done for us.
Take the twine and put one end through the needle. Track down the other end, and we're going to use a figure 8 knot again. Make a loop, cross it around one full time, and right back through the hole. You have your knot, and you can cut off the excess at the end. On the leather, you will notice that there are pre-punched holes for the stitching to go through. To start the stitch, you will find the hole closest to the seam. You're going to want it very secure here. Find the parallel hole that is closest to the seam and loop the needle through. You will want to repeat this process through the same 2 holes. To work the twine tight, pull down then up 2 to 3 times. Once tight, here's our starting point for the rest of the stitch. To start the rest of your stitches, you go from the inside of the leather and pull the needle through. Go to the bottom hole and again pull the needle through the inside of the leather. Pull through and bring back up to the top and to the next hole. This is essentially creating a baseball stitch. It's always over the top and then you go underneath to the next one. For every single stitch all the way down, giving a little tug after each stitch as you go. Now that we have finished the stitches from spoke to spoke, we have to finish it off. What we are going to do is loop the needle through twice and then stitch back underneath the last 2 stitches you did, then cut off the excess. Before bringing the needle under the stitches, work the loose thread until they are tight. Then you can pull the needle through. There you have it. Your wheel is leather covered. All you have to do now is install it back on your boat and take her for a sail.